Welcome to the rebellion.
Welcome to Dave's Take. Today we're talking about Season 2 of Andor, the final season of the prequel series, The Rogue One. So if you've been following my channel, you know I haven't really been a big fan of a lot of the Disney Plus stuff and Star Wars in general lately. It's not like I absolutely hate it like a lot of people do. It's sort of a mixed bag for me because they do create some great things, I would say, but there's also a lot of very mediocre or just bad stuff that's been coming out. I actually never talked about Andor Season 1 on my channel. I loved it. I think it's probably the best Star Wars we've had since Disney acquired Star Wars back in like 2013. Or at least it's just as good as Mandalorian Season 1 and 2. Those are the two best things by far Disney has made when it comes to Star Wars. Andor Season 1 just surprised me because I wasn't really expecting much. I like Rogue One. I don't love it like a lot of people. When I heard they're making a prequel to it about Andor, I was sort of like, whatever, I don't really care. To my surprise, it was a well-written political drama that had very depressing moments, really great characters, and some really great moments, and it really expanded the world of Star Wars. That's something I feel like Star Wars has been lacking for a long time. There hasn't been much world building, or at least they've attempted to do it, and it's not been very good. Andor nailed it. So of course I was excited for Andor Season 2, and I'm so thankful I was able to watch the whole entire season. I got to watch in 2 sittings, and this is going to be a very hard review because I really can't talk about anything in the season, and I don't really want to because I don't want to spoil the season at all for anyone. Because I'm happy to say that Andor Season 2 is an excellent follow-up and final season to this series, and to be honest, if you combine Seasons 1 and 2, I don't know how Disney's going to top this series. Just like the first season, this is an extremely well-written political drama. There are so many parts throughout the season, I completely forgot I was watching a Star Wars show. And when it comes to shows and movies that are fantasy-like or are about these bigger brands, sometimes you can be distracted by the fact that, yeah, this is in the Star Wars universe. But for me, while watching the season, I was so focused on these extremely well-written characters and the plot around them that, like I said, I forgot I was watching a Star Wars show, which is an incredible thing to say. Some people might think that's a bad thing. I think it's the best compliment I can give this show. I like Rogue One, but one of my biggest problems with Rogue One, it's like a Star Wars fan service bukkake. And I'm just so surprised when I watched Andor Seasons 1 and 2 that they hold back so much on the fan service. They're so focused on telling this story. And that's what this whole entire season feels like. It feels focused. It knows it has a story it wants to tell that's going to tie into the Star Wars universe and this bigger overall story. And I really love what they did with all our characters in Season 2. Season 1 really set them up as interesting characters, showed some of their backstory, and put them in positions to see what they're going to do next in this season. And I think Season 2 really elevates a lot of these characters, their motivations, their development, everything like that. Because like I've been saying, it just feels so focused. Like these writers truly understand where these characters are coming from and the things that they would actually do. And I absolutely love the tone the season is going for. It's just like the first season. It's honestly depressing espionage political drama. When you compare that to something like The Mandalorian, they're hard to compare because Mandalorian's like a classic Star Wars adventure that feels like the original trilogy. This feels completely different, and I'm saying that in a good way. This is the type of show you need when you want to introduce how bad like the Empire is and some of the shady things that they're doing. There's some really fucked up things that happen in the season that make you really hate the Empire, just like in Season 1. And that's one of the many goals the series is trying to accomplish. They really want to illustrate that the Empire is just so bad and that's something we really need to stop. That's why we need to build this rebellion. So the show goes in directions that feel very grounded and realistic for a Star Wars show when establishing all the shady things the Empire is doing. I wish there was things I could talk about specifically with characters, where they're at, what they're doing, but I'm going to avoid that. But I just gotta say that the performances in this season are all fantastic. Diego Luna is obviously great as Andor, and there are some things that happen in this season that really bring out some emotional side of him. But I think my favorite performance in this whole series, and probably my favorite character, is Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen. If you like Luthen in Season 1, there's a lot of great moments with him in Season 2. There's a lot of things they do with his character in the season that I really appreciated, and I just thought it really worked for his character. That's kind of the main reason why, for me, the show really works, are these characters. They're all super interesting. Characters like Mon Mothma, She was great in season 1, but there's so much here in season 2. And that's just sort of an example of bringing these characters into the show to make the show better, but make these characters more interesting. Obviously, from a production standpoint, it's a big Star Wars show, so everything looks great, but there's just a lot of great camera work when we get to some of the more serious themes in the show that, like I said, just seems like the show just more elevated from your typical Star Wars show. There's a few issues I have with this season, and is it as good as season 1? I would say the highs of season 2 sometimes surpass the highs of season 1, but I think overall season 1 is better. Because season 2, there are definitely some subplots that drag their feet a little bit, and I can't really touch on too much of the plot of season 2, but let's just say sometimes there's things sort of all over the place, like we're jumping all over the place, and it works in a sense, but sometimes it can be a little jarring. But I gotta give Disney credit because I read that they're releasing 3 episodes a week, and that's extremely smart. I think that will make the viewing experience for the season perfect. If you watch 3 episodes a week of this, I think it's gonna really elevate and really maximize this viewing experience. I just gotta say, if you like season 1 of Andor, you're gonna love season 2. It's an excellent follow-up to that season and a great final season to this series. It almost feels weird saying that this is a Star Wars show. This is just a solid political drama with great characters, great moments, and made by people who clearly understand these characters and these moments. I really love The Mandalorian season 1 and 2. It's a great Star Wars adventure, but when you combine Andor seasons 1 and 2, I think this is probably the best thing that Disney Star Wars has made, and I honestly don't know how they're going to top it. I'm going to give Andor Season 2 9 Davy Daves. I would love to have a spoiler discussion about this season because there's some really great moments here, but like I said, I really just want to stray away from any sort of hints, any sort of spoilers, anything like that. So, Season 2 of Andor. Once you guys have watched the whole season, please let me know what you think. I'm curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Dave Dave's Takes.